Hello and welcome to another video. In this video it is going to be a crochet video. I am going to be crocheting a washcloth. Sorry, I forgot the word. It's a good start. Anyway, I'm going to be crocheting a washcloth. It's approximately going to be about between 17 and 20 centimeters square. And it's going to have a border. It's going to be similar to one of these. It's going to be like textured. Okay, similar to that. These are my practice ones that I've been doing for the pattern that I'm going to be sharing with you. Yeah, I'm going to turn the camera around, stop talking, and show you what I'm going to be using. Okay, so this is the yarn that I'm going to be using. So this I purchased from Hobbycraft. It's a cotton blend, and I actually bought two colours because I am going to be doing a change of colour within the washcloth. So as you can see, it's a 50% cotton, 50% acrylic, and it recommends, let me see whether I can see the shade on here. I don't know. It's probably, yeah. So this one is mustard shade, and then this one is just a plain white. Okay. So it recommends to use, where is it? A 5mm crochet hook. Now I am going to be using a 4.5. I'm not too sure whether I want to use a 5. I know it recommends this 5. You should really probably go with what it recommends, but I'm going to go somewhere in the middle. I normally use a 4, and I have been using a 4 on these practice squares, but I did use a different type of yarn previously. That again was a cotton blend, but it was a different brand. So and each brand can knit up differently, or crochet up differently. So that's what I'm using. I am going to start off with the white and do a mustard border, and then I am also going to be doing a few others where it's going to be mainly the mustard colour and then the white border. I'll probably just show you 2 for this video, but I won't go through both fully. I will only show you one on camera, and then I'll show you the end result with both of them. So we are going to get into it, so bear with me. Okay, so after a much needed needle or crochet hook change, I opted to go down to the 4mm. I just prefer like the look of it. I wasn't happy with the way it was crocheting up, so I was like, no, I want to go down to the 4. Should have stuck with the 4 in the first place. That's what I've been using for the test pattern, so I should have stuck with it. So we are going to chain 37 stitches. So if we just start there, so 37, and I will come back to you once I've got the 37. Okay, so we've got our chain of 37, and what we're going to do is we're going to miss the first stitch from the hook and go into the second. We're going to be doing a single crochet into this stitch here. So 1 single crochet, we're going to miss the next stitch and go into the following stitch, and we're going to do 2 single crochets into the same stitch. So that's 1 and that's 2. So again, miss that next stitch, go into the following one, and we're going to do 2 single crochets into that stitch. Okay, so that is the pattern repeated. Okay, so that's what you're going to be doing all the way along this row. I'm going to come back to you once I'm close to the end of the row and just show you how we end the row, and then go into the second row of the pattern. Okay, so I am at the end of the row, and you can see I've done my 2 single crochets into I think it's the fourth one from the chain. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so we've got 3 more stitches on the chain to consider. So the next one we do skip, then we will be doing 2 single crochets into this stitch here. So 1, 2, and then we are gonna just put a single crochet into this final stitch. So it's just 1 single crochet that we're putting into there. And I've just had a quick count just to make sure, but we should have 36 stitches to work on there. So going into the second row, we are just going to do 1 chain, turn our work, okay, and here we are going to be concentrating on going into both stitches, so both of like these 2 at the top, like you would in most crochet. You are going to want to be going into both. Sometimes you work, depending on what you're working on, sometimes you're only working to like the back loop, or you're working to the front loop. These work them both. Now for the second row, we are going to do a just 1 single crochet into the first section. So let me just make sure I pick up both of those. So into the first stitch we do a single crochet, okay, and then we are going to skip the next stitch and go straight into the following stitch, and then this is where we start our repeat pattern again, and we are going to be doing 2 single crochets into 1 stitch, skip a stitch, and then carry on with our 2 single crochets and then skip a stitch. So we're going to work that all along this row right until the end, and then the end stitches we will just put 1 single crochet in. So always remember, you're always finishing on the row on that row with 1 single crochet at the end. Okay, so we are going to do this. So that's 1 and 2, skip the stitch, and then work 2 single crochets into the same stitch. So that's 1 and 2, skip the next stitch, and then work 2 single crochets into the following stitch. Okay, so I'm going to come back to you once we have gotten to the end of the row, and we're basically repeating those 2 rows over and over again. So that is our first 2 rows complete. So I'm at the end where I have already done my single crochet into the last stitch. We're just going to do a chain 1, turn, and then we are going to do our single crochet into this first stitch on the other side. We're going to skip and then skip a stitch and then do our 2 single crochets into the following stitch, skip a stitch, and then do 2 single crochets. And like I said, this is just a repeatable pattern, and we're just going to keep going, repeating that row again and again and again. I will put this up on the screen somewhere so that you can follow. It's a fairly simple pattern, and you just keep repeating the skip a stitch and then 2 single crochets into the same stitch. So let's skip 1, and then we're going to do our 2 into this one. There we go. Okay, so I am going to continue some of this off of camera. One thing that you will want to do is actually measure your work, just to see like the length of it. I've just done, because I was talking, I've just done completely the wrong thing. One sec. Right, so so we were doing skip, we were doing 2 in here. So yeah, so you will want to measure, and I will do that in a second with you, because if, like me, you want your squares to be, you know, kind of the same size, so all sides the same size, then it's important that you measure the length so that you're you kind of know how far you've got to kind of get it to make sure they're all even. So like I said, on my previous ones, I think they were about 17 centimeters, or it might have been 17 and a half actually, square. Now I don't think it matters if it's too much out. Obviously try and get it as close to that as possible, but you know, you can adapt the pattern and make them bigger if you want to make them bigger. It depends what you're going to use them for, really. Like I said, they are washcloths. Some will want to make them as dishcloths. It's up to you. It's entirely up to you what you use them for, and whether you want them slightly bigger. I'm quite happy with the size of these. I have made these up a couple of times already, as you've seen. I've actually got one that I use upstairs as well, so I'm using them quite often. So here I am, I'm here, so 1 second, I think I've gone wrong somewhere because I'm not going into the right stitch, I don't think. I may not have. I'll do a quick count and just make sure I've got the right number of stitches. So you can see like the pattern is starting to kind of come along there. It is meant to be like a textured look. So bear with me. I am just going to grab my tape measure. Okay, so I've just had a quick count. I've got 36 stitches, so I haven't gone wrong. It's just me thinking I have. So measured up the first section. It's probably a little bit easier to actually measure this when you've got a few more stitches and there's not a few more rows and it's not like curling up on you, because it does actually, once you start crocheting it actually doesn't curl as much. So I've approximately about 18, yeah, about 18, maybe a little over 18 and a half, so slightly bigger than what I've been crocheting up with the other one. But like I said, I used a different brand of wool, so that would make sense completely, because they can crochet up differently, like I said. So I'm going to carry on for a few more rows, and I will come back to you when we're nearing the end and we're going to be doing the border. I don't want to make this too long. It's a pretty straightforward pattern, so I'm going to be aiming, because I've got about 18 and a half centimeters, I'm going to be aiming to work up until about 18 and a half centimeters, so that all the sides of the square are the same length. I'm going to stop talking and just start crocheting. Okay, so I have finished the square for the washcloth. It measures 17 centimeters height, and width is again about 17 centimeters, so I wanted it relatively square. Moving on to the border now. So I've approximately done about 37 rows, but bear in mind your tension and your wool is going to be completely different to mine, so measure up to how you want it, the size that you want it. I wanted it this size, so that's why I am doing it this size. I'm going to show you how to do the border now. Now the border, I am going to change colour, that's why I have actually cut my ends and left them there. I will weave them in a little bit later once everything is all done. So we're going to start off with the border. We're changing to like this mustardy yellowy colour, and I will talk you through how to do the border. Okay, so hopefully you can see this. This isn't my usual setup. I'm actually at the shop today, so I am just while Zahir's watching the shop floor, I'm doing my video for crochet, so it's like so it's not my normal setup. I've got a chair that creaks and I've got this white background which isn't my normal background, so yeah. Anyway, I'm going to stop complaining. So what you're going to do is you're going to go into your first chain that you can see here, go through both loops, so where it looks like it's got like the V shape, go through both loops. You are just going to pick up your colour, oops, not like that, loop it through, okay, and make sure you've got like the loose end. You don't need too much because you end up just weaving that bit in anyway. Now, so to secure it, this is the way I do it. It's probably not an official way to do it, but this is just how I do it. I do a chain, give it a pull, and then I'm ready to start. Now in this first one we are going to do a single crochet. Try not to get that tangled up. I don't want it weaved in just yet. I will do it at the end. Okay, so we're going to do a single crochet. Sorry, I think I said double crochet. We're going to do a single crochet. Okay, and then we are going to do a single crochet into each one of these stitches here. So we're going to end up with 36 by the end of the row. And then when we get to that corner, we are then going to be working 36 single crochets evenly along this line. Now this line is going to be slightly more difficult to get the 36 because you've got to remember this is the edge that we've kind of finished on, so it's a lot easier to kind of pick up those stitches. Along here it's not as easy to do that, so I'm going to do the 36 and then I'll come back to you when I am doing that corner section basically. Okay, so I've done the first edge there that you can see. I've put a stitch marker in there because that marks 36 stitches, and now I'm going to be working along this edge here. Now again, we need 36 stitches, and what I tend to do on these ones, I don't put any extra stitches around the corners. When I was trialing this washcloth before, I found that when I put extra stitches in the corners, it kind of, maybe I just put too many stitches in, but I ended up liking the look without that many stitches in. I think there's just enough on the corners without them, to be quite honest. I found that there was just too many stitches around the corners, and then I was just like struggling to kind of get the pattern to work how I wanted it to work, so I kind of took them back out again. Didn't do the edges. So here I'm looking to put stitches into like these gaps here. So I'll put a stitch there, I'll possibly put a stitch there. So where my hook kind of fits through, I will put a like a single crochet stitch. I'm going to do that all along the edge here again down to this corner, and just remember that we want we do want 36 stitches along this edge, which should be fairly easy to do. Obviously, depending on how many the number of rows that you've ended up doing, depends on how many stitches you're going to want along the edge. Again, adapt it to how you're making it. So that's what I'm going to do. Like I said, I just go in and I find points where where I found that I've put a stitch previously. So anyway, I'm going to stop talking and then carry on and do the edges. Okay, so far I've got 36 stitches along that edge, 36 stitches along this edge. We're going to continue to put the 36 on the last two edges, so 36 on that side and then 36 on that side, and then I will get back to you once we're doing the next part of the edging. Okay, so for the edging we are going to go into this first chain, this first single crochet stitch, and we're going to do a single crochet and then we're going to do a chain of 3. So 1, 2, 3. Now this is like a variation of like the Picot stitch. I think that's how you say it. I'll put the name on the screen somewhere. Now you can adapt this as much as you like. You can have more chains or you can leave a gap. I'm not going to be leaving a gap. I'm just going to go back into the next single crochet. I preferred the look of that. Did try a couple of variations, and this is the one I ended up liking for this washcloth. So we're going to go into the first chain that we've made, pull the yarn through and then pull it through again without splitting the yarn. There we go. Okay, and then we're going to do a single crochet. I don't know if you can see this, sorry. Yeah, I moved my hands down. Single crochet into the next stitch, pull that through, and then we're going to do another single crochet, and this gives us a little bit of a gap between each of our bumps, and then we're going to do another chain 3. So 1, 2, 3. Again, pull your yarn through all the way through both stitches, back in to do another single crochet, and that's kind of like anchoring it down to the edging, and then we're going to do another single crochet and then chain 3. 1, sorry, my yarn's gone too tight. 1, 2, 3, through there, and then again a single crochet in the next stitch, and you just repeat that pattern basically all along your edging. I am going to do the rest off of camera, and I'm going to show you at the end of the video the variations that I've done for these washcloths. Right, so this is the actual finished square with the edging. At this corner here, I don't know if you can see, I just do a slip stitch into the first single crochet. So even though it's got the chain coming out of it for the edge, I kind of do a slip stitch and then fasten off. So I've still got to weave my edges in, like my little ends in, sorry, not my edges, my ends on the back. So I will be doing that in a bit, but that's what it looks like when it's done. I haven't blocked these, so they do curl up at the edges. I may do it, I'm not sure I will. They're only going in the bathroom, so I'm not sure that I'll do it, if I'm honest. And then these are the color variations that I've done. So I've done like a full mustard with the white edging, and then I did some with some stripes in them. So again, main color being the yellow, and then the white at the top here. Did make a bit of a mistake on these ones though, because you see, I've probably got it upside down. So you see, I've got these, but I finished on an even row. And then when I went into like the new pattern, I should have calculated it a little bit better, or worked in the lines in a different way. But the stripe is kind of back to front on this one. But hey, like I said, they're for at home. I can spot the mistake because I did it. But family, are they going to notice? Nah. And then my final color variation with the stripes is like mainly white with the yellow at the bottom and the top. I was actually thinking about doing the edging in the yellow. That might be a variation that I do off camera, but yeah, they're the ones that I've kind of done for the video. So yeah, there's just a few there to kind of keep you busy. This yellow looks more orange, but it really, I'm hoping that's just the camera and the lighting, but it's a kind of a mustard yellow. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment. If you've got any queries or questions about the pattern, just leave a message and I will reply to you as soon as I can. And I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.